What's up, guys? Yancy here. So we're in LA and it's super hot. It's about like 80. It's about like 90 in this room. So a thing to address is like to invite the heat in. So as much heat, no, that you can bear with, nothing too oppressive. So if you are used to practicing in cooler environments, air-conditioned environments, probably not so great depending, you know, how you run. If you run super hot, yeah, it's fine. Everything's relative, but we use the heat for purification techniques. Like you boil water, you purify the water. Same thing with the body. Heat, tapasyas, creating heat. Heat rises, it'll keep the body nice and loose and limber. It's better to stretch with the heat. So encouraging you to turn your home practice, home space into a nice heated environment. And just so you can get a little bit looser, a little bit more flexible, a little bit more purified. And if you're the kind of person that runs super hot, this could be a good way to kind of test your edges, your boundaries, your limits, trying to find peace, santosha, contentment in any circumstance, any environment. So like a true yogi. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start at the top of the mat. And we're just gonna move a little bit swifter. You bring your hands to the center of the chest, you close the eyes, you concentrate between the eyebrows, seat of the mind, you might see colors, shifting lights. We'll take 3 breaths just to ground. Expel the breath from your lungs. Smooth inhale. And part the lips, exhale. Again, deep, 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 smooth breath in. Hold it at the top for a second. And part the lips. Last breath. Hold. And part the lips. Go ahead, blink the eyes open. Stretch your arms up. Grip nice and tight. Interlace the fingers. Release the index finger. Heel the hand together. And start to pull the arms back. Lift to the sternum. Little stretch. And fold over the legs. Uttanasana. You may bend your knees if it's a little bit tighter. Step your right leg back. The knee goes down. Moving nice and swift. The gaze goes up. Come to plank pose. Shoulder blade, scapula expanding out of triceps back, pubic bone, navel, spin inner thighs up. Strong plank, keep that protraction, knees, chest, chin. Loose protraction, slide forward. Bhujangasana, retraction in between shoulder blade, scapula, shoulders down, inner ankles in. A downward facing dog, abdomen toned. Right foot forward, left knee down, equestrian pose. Stretch psoas, hip flexor, gaze goes up. Feet together, uttanasana. Stretch up, upward hands. Good, stretch, go back. Hands to the heart. We'll do the left leg. Go back, stretch. Fold forward. Left leg back, knee down, gaze goes up. Plank pose. Strong plank, hollow from body, knees, chest, chin. Cobra pose. Squeeze back muscles. Pull shoulders down the back. Downward facing dog pose. Left foot forward, right knee down. Gaze goes up, equestrian pose, Sankalanchasana. Feet together, forward bending, Uttanasana. Stretch up, upward hands. Lift sternum, press hips forward, stretch. And hands to the heart. 2 more. Go back. And go down. Right leg back, knee down, gaze goes up. Plank. 8-point salute, knees, chest, chin. Cobra pose. Dog pose. Right foot forward, left knee down. Feet together, top of the mat, stretch up. Lift sternum. Hands to the heart. Last round. Go back. Go down. Left leg back. Plank. Knees, chest, chin. Cobra. Dog. Left foot forward, right knee down. Feet together. Stretch up. Hands to the heart. Let things normalize. And then here we go. Let's begin. You're going to take that same grip. You're going to try to go for an extended back bend. Key, arms nice and strong for your upper spine. Gaze at the heel of the hand. Abdomen tone. Shift weight in the heels. And then trace a line in the ceiling. Find your limit. Lift through the sternum. Legs are strong. Keep going. And stretch up. Bend your knees, fold over the legs. Swim your arms behind the back. Interlace your fingers, relax your head. Let your low back loosen. Bounce a couple times, gently. Sway a little bit. And let your arms dangle down towards the ground. Look up halfway. Step back, plank pose. Okay, lower halfway down. Upward dog, shoulder blade in, inner ankle in, look up. Downward facing dog, head close to the floor. Outer triceps back, spin inner thighs back, broadening collarbones. So inviting Ujjayi breath in, through the nose, out the nose, constrict the vocal cords. It'll help build up that extra heat. As you feel a lift through the pelvic floor with an energetic through the legs, spiral the inner thighs up and back. Let your heels drive down. Keep the navel toned, low ribs away from the toes, chin in. And keep that protraction as you broaden the collarbones, wrap the outer triceps back. We'll start left leg. You'll raise your left leg. You'll bring your left foot through between your hands. You'll release your right knee down towards the floor. Then you'll stretch your arms up. You'll lift through the sternum, stretch thoracic flexor, not collapsing the hip crease. Lift out of the hips a little bit. Lift through the sternum. Stretch your biceps behind your ears. Wiggle your shoulders a little bit. From here, hands come down. Yeah, and then tuck your back toes under, come into a standing split. Gently at first. Reach to the inseam of the leg. The lifted leg, excuse me. And get your head close to your shin. Bend the knee if it's too much. Now your choice, you'll either step your right foot alongside your left foot and send your left leg back for the low lunge. Or you'll walk your hands a little bit in front of you, shift shoulders forward, outer triceps back, and then swap the legs in the air. Handstand. The left knee will come down. If you step your feet together, just send your left leg back. You'll stretch your arms up. Lift through the sternum. Pull the shoulders behind the ears, best you can. And you'll come down and you'll come into the standing splits. Reach to the inseam of the left leg. Point the toes. Stretch your leg. Breathing. And then either you're going to step your feet together or you'll take a handstand. If you're in the handstand, lower nice and slow. Look up halfway, fold. Look up halfway, high up on the toes. You'll either meet me in a downward dog or place the knees on the backs of the arms, crow pose. Shoot the legs back. Vinyasa, upward dog, and downward facing dog. The left leg will come up. Left foot through between your hands. Good. The right knee down. Go back. Now, find the limit. Pull the biceps behind the ears. Lift through the sternum. You can lift out of the hips a little bit. And then once you find the limit, you can relax the head back. Come back up. Good. Come to center. Tuck the back toes under without lifting your hips too much. The crescent pose. Spin the heel down, warrior two pose. Good. Building some heat. Root down through baby left toe. Externally rotate inner left thigh as you reform the right arch. The arms are strong. The shoulders relax. Lengthen back ribs. Abdomen tone. Look past shoulder. Low ribs in. Tip it on back. Peaceful warrior. Knee forward. Fingers stretching back. Lift through the intercostal. Circle top pinky in. Shoulder blade scapula expanding. Now you can reach around back. Push. Or above or below the knee. Never on the knee, too much lateral pressure. Keep shoulders, hips in one plane. Exhale, breathing, side angle pose. Stay here. Pubic bone lifting towards the navel. Open twist, right shoulder rib back. Now you have a choice. You can take a bind. Keep peeling open, open twist. One more choice. Perhaps snuggle the shoulder behind the knee. Heel the hand in line with the heel of the foot. And the left foot get light. Little shelf. Root down through the blade of the foot. If you want, if you have the extension, after those standing splits, you might reach. One. Two. Three. Put your foot down, knee comes down. Hands to the heart. Hop your left foot back, square lunge. Take a nice inhale. Abdomen tone, exhale, turn twist, using internal levers, then palm against palm. Now, you can stay here. You get a beautiful twist, sacral area stays level. You can slide the armpit closer to the knee. You might be able to bind. And you might straighten the back leg. Depending on your flexibility, careful shoulders, you'll bring your feet together. You shift the weight onto the right leg. You have to use your legs. You might come up. You might extend. Slowly, you come down, how you came in, and you put your hands inside your left foot. So careful, move nice and slow on that one. If you're trying it at home, rock forward, rock back, open up your hip, and then come on down. Good old lizard. Knee to the shoulder, upper spine straight. So you're putting almost like a cow spine, right? A little bit of a back bend. So you're not rounding down like so. Opening up the hips. And then imagine the inner left thigh spinning towards the ceiling. Imagine the left seat point down and back as the right hip point pulls forward and down. From here, heel ball foot between the hands. And then come into half splits. Anterior tilt, so you're keeping that cow upper spine. You're lifting your butt. Think cow in the body, right? Flexing the foot, you can fold from there. Now, if it's too much, you keep the micro bend, you walk the hands back. And then if you're working towards a full pose, depending on your flexibility or where you're at, you're very careful. If you've been with me before, I love this technique. The sole of the foot stays flat. You keep a bend here so you don't agitate the hamstring. Walk the hands back, retraction in between shoulder blade scapula, working the torso over the hips using gravity, your body weight to sink into the psoas hip flexor. Now, if the groin is closed, extend. You can always prop blocks underneath the hammy, just in case, underneath your hands. Lift the chest. Breathing. 1, 2, 3. From here, lean to your left hip. Come into the pigeon pose. Square off. And try to make this pigeon active. So by active, depending on your flexibility, if you need a prop underneath the seat, do so. You'll square off and make sure your right ankle, knee, hips in a line. You'll lift your chest and then you'll go down. And then how do you make it active? Dorsiflexing left foot. The blade presses down, inner thigh spins up, left seat down and back, right hip point forward, and you breathe. You press the blade down actively. It is a sleeping pigeon, but it's an active sleeping pigeon. So one day, toes underneath the chin, foot center of the chest. So you're really getting an opening in the outer hip. And you'll push the floor away. Now, those of you that would like to come into the king pigeon, you slide the heel in. All right, you sickle the toes, you lift your chest. You look past your right shoulder, you could. And then you have to be careful. You have to have a good flexibility. You can bend the knee. You can reach around for the foot. You can even use a strap. All right, thumb at the ankle, palm face up. So you're grabbing around the big toe side. Your shoulder doesn't have to do much work. Lean back as best you can. Perhaps here. If your hips are down, you have to balance. Grab the other foot. Or you can use your hand to grab the foot. Other hand, excuse me. Then slowly you'll release. You come into downward dog. Pedal it out. And it's a nice time to kind of flip the dog. Right? So if you want to flip the dog, you flip the dog. Lift your hips just to the sky. And then come back down and around to your downward dog, and we'll do the right side. The right leg floats, the right foot through, left knee down. And again, so what you're actually trying to do, you're lifting out of the hips. You can collapse so your low back doesn't take the hit. You lift through the sternum. It's a great pose. Psoas hip flexor, upper spine, everything encompassing. Stretch. And if you have the range, you find your limit. And then relax the head back. You might go a little bit forward. You'll come up towards the center, and you're not going to lift your hips too much, so the pose becomes very active. Straight the back leg, spin the heel down. You'll come into the warrior two. Adjust what you need to adjust. So inner right thigh, ceiling, lift up the hip points, do that press to your toe, back leg is firm, breathing. You'll keep the warrior two legs, the right palm up, you'll glide the rib cage forward, and then you'll tip it on back. You create length in the intercostals. You can reach around back, push the thigh away, create space between your hip crease, rib cage, armpit, breathing. So knee forward, finger back, stretch, one more breath. Come into side angle. What you'd explored in that peaceful warrior, that length in the right rib cage, you try to maintain that in the next pose. Right? What you opened up for. Open twist, pivot bone navel, left shoulder rib back. Stay here. Great place. Take a bind. Nice place. Now, if you want to take the arm balance, shoulder below the knee. Squeeze the knee to the upper arm. Foot gets light. If you have the range of motion, you can just reach up. If you have the range of motion, push your thigh against the arm, stretch. So there's a micro bend in the right elbow to make it a shelf. You'll release that, and you'll bring your hands down. And then you'll bring your foot back like a square. This will keep the pelvis level. Right? It's probably a better twist than getting the knee off the floor, but you're invited to. You'll lift your chest, keep the abdomen toned, you turn twist. And so since we took an arm balance in the open twist, all right, we're gonna give you the option for the revolved bird of paradise. You stay here. You can even straighten the back leg if you want from here, keeping the pelvis level. All right, you can take a bind. You can stay here. You can straighten the back leg. Stay here. Or look down, bend your left knee, bring it alongside your right foot. You'll come onto the ball of the right foot, and you have to use your legs. Bend your left knee as much as you need. It's all in the legs. You might extend. Slowly rebend everything. You come down. Same way you come in, same way you come out. Hands inside the right foot, prepare for the lizard pose. And then release the knee down. Left elbow, right elbow down. Knee to the shoulder, upper spine straight. Inner right thigh ceiling, right seat point down and back. It's very active. Might not look active on the screen, but you're doing the best that you can. Glue knee to the shoulder, externally rotating the inner right thigh. Breathing. You'll push the floor away. And then you'll come into your half splits, Ardha Hanumanasana, the great place to hang out. You lift the butt, lift the chest, keep that cow, and then you go down. Keep that dorsiflexion. And you stay here, great place to be. Again, if it's too strenuous, you micro bend, you walk your hands back. To the degree, you can even use props and blocks. If you're working towards that full pose, slide the sole forward, work the soleus flexor, gently, no straining. We're here for preservation, lots of breath. So creating that heat so you can get deep into the muscles. Right? Using that heat, what happens if it's cold? The muscles contract and they're more prone to tear. So the heat is helpful. Now, you don't want to overdo it. You find your limit. Creating that heat inside, outside. Getting nice and loose. If you're loose, all right, and have the muscle tone, you'll be able to move a little bit more freer. And that's something that we know that we have to do in life is move. So move well. I think that's Ido Portal. So dorsiflex, get the foot a little bit higher, make it active, flex a foot, lift your chest, pigeon prep, press the blade down, and down you go. And one side might be tighter than the other, and that's okay. Concentrate, focus on the stress region, breathing deep. Where your concentration goes, things tend to open up a little bit more, figure things out a little bit more. So figure out where it's tight, you concentrate there, you breathe, you press right blade down, inner right thigh ceiling. The same thing as lizard, outer right seat down and back, left hip point forward and down. all these hip openers. Take one more breath here. Slowly you come up. And then if you want to try the king pigeon, you can just lift your chest. This time, you can slide the heel in for the balance. Sickle the toes for the balance, like a little kickstand. Now careful, it's always best to have the right hip down on the ground. And depending on your hamstring strength and your psoas flexibility, that's why we do the low lunges. They're very helpful, and the warrior twos for the under of the legs. It's good for the legs. You can bend the knee. You can look past. Look, duck out the foot. You can reach around, no straining. Look at the hand position, right? Straight up, you're serving. Find the foot. Lean back so your shoulder doesn't have to do the work. Ooh, it's pretty intense. So careful. Right? If you can't reach the foot, not worth it. Maybe a strap. And then from here, you'll come into the downward dog. Yeah, and then you might flip the dog. Lift the leg. Right toes behind. We'll lock out the leg, the pelvis. Stretch. And then come back to the downward facing dog. Now, you have about two choices. You can put your knees down and sit one side and swing your legs through, or you push the floor like so, protraction in between the shoulder blade scapula, and you get your legs through. So it's a constant push to get the legs through. You don't have to do it that way. You can just put your knees down and lean to one side, right? Might be something to try with the blocks. Might be fun. So the fleshy part away. And then here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna lean onto your right hip, you'll bend the left knee. Again, if there's too much, something going on with the knees, you sit on a block, you extend the left foot. Right? You bring your right foot in. You're gonna turn twist, right? Especially if knee things going on, sit on a block or extend the left leg. If you're going for the half lotus, Bhadrasana, blade of the foot towards the hip crease, all right? No straining, make sure your right knee's close to the floor, bow, arch. Find the foot, turn, twist, left wrist behind the right knee, lean back. Look past the right shoulder. 3, 2, 1. Look past the left shoulder. Unwind. Legs out long. Knees a little massage. Lean to the left hip, bend the right knee. Left foot in. Stay here, great place. Fleshy part away. The right hip's gonna wanna lift, the right glute's gonna lift. That's okay, it's normal. This is gonna create space. If you can, heel groin. Bow, arch, create space in the low back. You might find the foot. Right wrist behind the left knee, lean back. So you get the half lotus after the hip stretches and a little half hero's pose. Look past the right shoulder. All right, and release. Give your knees a little massage. All right, so from here, you can either sit in butterfly pose and come down. You can sit on a block, fleshy part away, come down. You can come into the lotus, right? Stay nice and low, the left. And not per se a yogi mudra, not a full, with a full bind, but just fold, however you can. All right, never forcing the lotus, breathing. slowly you'll come up, and then you'll unlotus. Or you'll come out of the butterfly. You'll extend your legs. From here, headstand practice. Now you can use the wall, come up nice and slow, never kicking up to your head. And we'll be here. Fingers touch opposite shoulders. Land your elbows down. The elbows do not move. The elbows are the same plane as the shoulders. Right? They're never wider. Interlace the fingers, back of the skull. All right? So what's going to go on the floor? Where your hairline, where the headphones go. Anywhere that region. You crawl your toes under. Going to lift this pant leg up a little bit. And then you're going to walk your toes. All right? You one leg up. Or bend the knee, other leg up. All right? And you stay. If you're a little bit stronger, hike up. Find headstand. Stay here. You can take a butterfly like you did on the floor. Eyes closed if you can. Almost like you're falling backwards. Finding the center of gravity. Watching the space between the eyebrows. If you have the lotus, you slide the foot into the tree. Bring the heel as close you can to the groin. The left leg will go back so you can get the blade at the hip crease. All right? So it's a deep hamstring. And then you can wiggle the other foot in like you're sitting on the ceiling. That's why we do that forward bend. And then you go up and you stay. If you come out, you come back in. If you're in the lotus, you can unlotus. And slowly come down. Take a child's pose. And then either you'll roll your spine up, lean to one side, get your legs out in front. I'll show you a transition. You come into downward dog, and you will never move your hands. You will not move the hands at all. If you have a neck condition, not viable. Please do not try this. Chin towards the chest, the elbows to the side. Land the back of the skull. You'll meet me in a shoulder stand. Have to adjust this mic. Walk the hands up the back, one straight line, toes to the chin. You can always use a blanket underneath the shoulders if you have a condition. If you have a lotus, either you tie it or you can use your left hand. But don't worry about it. Nothing to be forced. Breathing relaxes the veins in your legs, stimulates your thyroid gland. Complete pose. From here, you'll bring your knees to your ears for ear pressure pose. If it's too much, rest your knees on your forehead. So it can look like this, like this. Squeeze the knees to the ears. You can wrap the forearms around the calf muscles. If you took the lotus, you keep the lotus, depending on your flexibility.
You bring your knees to your ears. If you can, wrap. You put your hands down. You'll roll your spine down. If you have the lotus, try to keep it. Otherwise, extend your legs. The fish pose, top of the head on the floor, you push into the elbows. Chest is the highest point. If you have the lotus, you put your hands back like the wheel. Get more of your head on the floor. Grab your lotus, hold the lotus in tight. From here, unnotice if you have it. If you have the strength, raise arms, legs. Breathe fast through the nose. Slowly chin in. Relax for 2 breaths. Probably going off the the camera over here. I like to go a little bit wider than my mat. So all that heat makes us expand right off the mat. And then you'll bring your knees to your chest. You'll rock forward, rock back. You'll come to a seat. Before we do any back bending, let's take a forward bend. I'll take a mild one. And this is a great forward bend to get you prepped up for pressing and everything. Now, if you have a condition, sit on the block. If it's tight in the hamstrings and the low back, you bend your knees. Otherwise, it can be like this, sitting on a block, and you pull the chest to the gate of the arms. Think the cow, spine, then down you go. And your thighs spinning up. Breathing. And then slowly you come up. Again, and then you will lie down on the abdomen. Grab you can. You'll tense your fingertips. And we'll do some cobra rolls. So open up your legs a little bit wider than your hips. Slide your thumbs towards your low ribs. Tent the fingers. All right, inhaling and go up. 1. Go 10. 2, find your limit. You're not pushing as high. 3, if you have some kind of back issue. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Slowly come down. Make a little pillow. You can windshield wiper the legs. And then relax the legs back down. Slide the thumbs back. We'll go 3 times. Cobra. You can tent the fingertips like before, or keep them flat. Up to you, depending on your flexibility. Best you can, keep the hips down, inhaling. Come up. And then depending where you're at, squeeze the back muscles, shoulders down the back, pubic bone pressing down. So it's not a baby cobra, obviously. And then you can test your hamstring strength, your side flexibility, your leg strength by bending the knees, having a big toe. Slowly. Take a breath for recovery. We'll go again. All right. Inhaling. Slowly come up. Find your limit, move here. Slowly come down. And the last one, hands in position, inhaling, come up. And your knees. And slowly come down. Make a little pillow. Let's go for the boat pose. Bend the knees. Grab pinky toe side or ankles. Get your knees a little bit closer. Good. Point your toes, flank so the hands don't slide. Inhaling, kick. Let the kick lift your chest. Roll forward in between hip point, low rib. Look up and kick. 3, 2. Slowly come down. Make a little pillow. Press back. Child's pose. Knees apart. Stretch your low back. From here, now that our spine's warmed up, we'll continue some back bending, or you can find a straight line. It's always good to find a straight line. Let's say we work pincha, and I'll give you some other options, some other variations. So for pincha, train tracks is great. Totally fine. Most of the weight's going to be in the elbows. As long as you're pushing into the elbows won't splay out. So you're pushing, getting extension. The eyes won't point between the wrists and forearms. Tuck the toes, come into your dolphin. Protraction in between the shoulder blade scapula. It's a little hard. Walk the toes as best you can, a little hard. All right? Stretch your leg up. Now the shoulder is going to go forward. So think of a little push-up. Reach to the inseam of the leg. Up you go. Push. Then slowly you can scissor the legs. If you want to work the back bend, figure 4. No knee condition. Use that leg to help. So maybe here. Come straight. Switch. Push most weight in the elbows. You can always use the wall to kick up. That's totally fine. Find the wall. You're about a forearm's distance away from the wall, so the wall doesn't kick you back down. And it's always good to find the straight line first before you bend. Those of you that have mastered it, well, how about the funky one? So chaturanga arm, hand slides back, all right? And hug the elbow in. It's going to want to splay out. You can even bring the left hand in, left elbow out a teeny bit, but it's never out of focus, out of the line of the shoulder. You tuck the toes, probably stretch the left leg up. Keep the leg split for the balance. Maybe bring them together. And if you do one side, you have to do the other side. So you see where the elbow is, you see where the hand is. So whatever elbow's down is probably the leg I'm going to want to stretch up to kick up to, because it'll help give me the leverage, because with that elbow down, it keeps my hips lower than my shoulder. So I have to get my hips over the shoulders, and I will use my top leg to do so. So learning how to switch the legs. Engage to the legs, Move slow. And down you go. So those are some variations that you can play with at home, right? You bring the heel of the hand in line with the heel of the opposite elbow. The arm that's a hand that's on the floor would be the chaturanga arm, and you're pushing hard into the elbow. From here, takes a lot of work. We'll extend the legs out in front. We'll take a nice forward bend. Fleshy part away. So a couple of things to work on. You don't have to do that. You can do a handstand, whatever heat that you built up and created. You take those variations. Lift the sternum. And down you go. And think that cow upper spine, so sternum leads. Slowly come up. And you're gonna take an easy twist. You're gonna scoot your seat forward. It's very passive. You'll roll your spine down. You'll bring your arms to a T. Lift your knees. You let your knees fall to the left. All right, keeping the knees in line with the hips or above the hips towards the chest for a deeper twist. The palms can be up, nice and relaxed. Place your palms down, center, and then poof, other side. Come to the center, squeeze up tight like a ball, take a big old breath, and exhale, relax. Shavasana. You can knit the shoulder blades in, lift the chest. Let your feet flap open, feet wider than the hips. Try to relax, leaving your body by itself, breath by itself. And slowly preparing to come out, feel through the fingers, toes. Roll ankles, wrists. Big old stretch, fingers to the toes, arms up overhead. Take a nice deep inhale. And part the lips, exhale. Lean onto one side, bending the knees. Bicep as a pillow. Feel grounded for a breath or two. And then keeping the eyes closed, propping yourself up towards a comfortable meditative seat. And keep the attention between the eyebrows, seat of the mind. You might see shifting colors, brilliant lights. Just kind of watch unconcerned. Keeping the breath soft. And we'll seal with one breath together. Expel the breath from your lung. Smooth inhale. And part the lips. Exhale. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Hopefully you had some fun with that practice. Yeah, all-encompassing. Let that heat build. Heat's good. If you build up heat in the body, the properties of heat rises, makes you lighter. And that's how we're meant to move in this lifetime. Lightly, floating. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.